Hey guys, it's Rick Crawley with Untitled Tactical, and today we're here to talk about weapons mounted lights. Today's video is sponsored by Shooting Surplus, and you can use code AHT5 for 5% off site-wide. So in the last episode, we talked about freehand lights, the different types that I use, as well as the purposes and applications for. So building off those types, the same types that I use in a freehand light application, I'm using in a weapons mounted light application. Whether it's a mod light, PLH V2 or OKW head, or that Surefire Scout X300, or that PLH 350. The reason I really like the mod light PLH 350 is because I can change this PLH V2 head out with the OKW head, take it right from my rifle straight to my pistol. So a big question I get within my courses is types of mounts. Leaving the rifle aside for right now, when it comes to the X300 mounts, I'm extremely passionate about telling people to go with the metal housing with the screw wheel to tighten down on that Picatinny rail on your pistol frame rather than the plastic housing. I've seen these in classes go flying. This plastic housing just doesn't keep up. So for weapons mounted lights on a rifle, everything you're gonna see here, whether it's a subgun or a rifle, 11.5, 12.5, SBR, 14.5, doesn't matter. I'm gonna run that weapons mounted light as far forward as possible to the muzzle. I'm also gonna run it on my dominant side so that my non-dominant side hand is not reaching around. I'm then gonna run a tape switch. That tape switch is going to activate that light, but also have the DS100 Surefire tail switch so that I can activate it manually for any injured shooter instances. So as you can see here on both of these rifles, they're set up very similar with the weapons mounted light as far forward on the dominant side and a tape switch right behind my laser to activate it. Moving on to a subgun application. This is my APC-9 from Shooting Surplus. This has the Scout, and the Scout is directly mounted to a pick rail. The activation switch is on the opposite side so that on top I can have my laser. So different mounting applications, different ways to mount it, but as you can see, the consistency between all three platforms is similar. Running it as far forward as possible and not interfering with that forward non-dominant side grip. All right, so let's talk about how we're actually gonna activate these weapons mounted lights, starting with the pistol. Common questions that I received during my dynamic environments courses and my rifle and pistol low light courses is, when am I actually activating my weapons mounted light on my pistol? And it's after I acquire my trigger as well as a sight picture before I then activate that weapons mounted light. So when activating that weapons mounted light, after I've acquired my trigger, after I've acquired my sight picture, I'm going to end up acquiring a solid grip, then using my forward non-dominant side thumb to then activate that light switch. So how this is gonna look, I acquire my trigger, I acquire my sights, I then activate my light and then engage that shot. If you cannot reach the toggle switch on that left side with that non-dominant side thumb, what I suggest to my students is you're just gonna sacrifice that sure grip. I'm still gonna be acquiring my trigger, I'm still gonna be acquiring my sights, but I'm going to end up taking my non-dominant side hand and rolling up into as I present that pistol. Now, again, I don't have the issue with the PLH 350 as it comes, but with the X300, because I've got small Burger King size hands, I can't reach that non-dominant side toggle switch without any aftermarket pieces. So instead of coming out here and trying and hoping and praying that I can reach it, I'm going to end up wrapping and rolling my index, non-dominant side index finger up into as I present that pistol. Then I'm going to break grip to then deactivate that toggle switch. All right, so same thing applies when I'm activating my weapons mounted light with a rifle. My weapon is going to go off safe. I'm now going to move to a new reference where I'm going to activate my weapons mounted light after my weapon's off safe. I have now acquired my trigger. I've now acquired a sight picture. My light will then come on and I will then start breaking rounds. All right, so let's talk about tape switches. I personally run the mod light buttons on my rifles. They take up minimal real estate, they're extremely user intuitive, and they plug right into any Surefire product, mod light products that are out there on the market. So if you're not going to run a pressure switch or a tape switch of some sort, whether it's Surefire or mod light, because of fear of NDing, whether it's light or laser, whatever, If you want to directly impact that tail switch, obviously I'm going to want to put it on my non-dominant side, not interfering with that non-dominant side grip, but readily available to activate, keeping that intuitive nature of that button. On the sub gun, you're limited to real estate, obviously. I'm a huge fan of these tape switches, running a tape switch for the purpose of activation of that light, whether it's momentary or permanently on. I'm definitely a huge fan of those Surefire tape switches with a Surefire light. For those mod lights, definitely run the mod light button. They're putting out a high frequency output. That is what the mod light requires. All of these products are available on Shooting Surplus, and again, you can use code AHT5 for 5% off site-wide.